Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the VETS Struggle. We're here today with Rabbi Bam Rubenstein himself. If you've ever been to one of the IW hikes, I'm sure you've seen them. If you don't know what IW is, I suggest you go check them out. It's a Reverent Warriors. You can check them out at irreverentwarriors.com. Just to give you a quick little glimpse of what the VETS Struggle is. If you haven't checked us out or if you don't know anything about us, we're a digital media, and I don't really know how to classify it, but we have a bunch of different variations of what we do. So as time progresses on, you might see different content coming from different categories. So maybe like a cooking channel or entrepreneur channel. We have a bunch of different stuff coming out pretty soon, but as of right now, this is for the VET Struggle itself. We're just kind of finding people that we think that are interesting, people that we seem that we've met just random different people, and we're just interviewing them, seeing what they have to say. Everyone's got a story, and we kind of want to hear them.
Oh shit, we take no shit, we got strength in numbers in this bitch. Oh shit, we take no shit, we got strength in numbers in this bitch. Oh shit, we take no shit, we got strength in numbers in this bitch. Pull up to the club quick, got my engine roaring, playing thug shit. Oh shit, we take no shit, we got strength in numbers in this bitch. Oh shit, we take no shit, we got strength in numbers in this bitch. Oh shit, we take no shit, we got strength in numbers in this bitch.
I'm gonna let the rabbi himself introduce himself.
I'm Bam Rubenstein. I'm 62 years old, born in New York, and I think I have a pretty colorful upbringing. So I don't know how much of this you're actually going to want to air.
Yeah, you can talk about whatever you want, man.
I was ordained 2 years ago, a little bit less than 2 years ago. That's a long time coming. So I always tell people that I was Bam to you 2 years ago, so I'm Bam today. It's like we're all, like we go to IW things and nobody says, "Hey, Colonel," or "Hey, whatever." So it's no reason to say, "Hey, Rabbi," but people do anyway. I mean, I know it's a show of respect, but
Were you a colonel?
No, I'm saying like to other people. No. I worked when I was in the service.
I was about to say I forgot to salute you, but it's good to know.
I always used to joke my ex-wife's father was the XO at Guantanamo Bay for a while. He was a naval commander, I guess, because he was an XO at Gitmo.
I guess so.
And I always goof on her that I worked and her father just relaxed. She didn't like that.
Yeah, they usually don't. I don't know why, but they'll get over it. Or you just get a divorce.
Yeah, we did that too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm friends with her now.
I think we all get a divorce the divorce rate in the military is extremely high. It's kind of one of those things where, it's more than likely if you meet somebody, they have at least one divorce under their belt.
Yeah. It's like we were talking about earlier. We all have the same things in common. Bad backs, bad knees, divorces, drug histories, and PTSD.
Oh, yeah. It's the drugs, man. Some of them are just so good. And then we have to put them down. So and then we're just out here with life.
Yeah. Life itself.
Yeah, but then you find ways to make things interesting. But tell me, so you're we met our other interview that we've done, that was with Deanna Wheeler. She grew up a little bit in Texas, but mostly she's a transplant from California. But tell me more about this New York thing.
Okay. I was born in New York.
What borough?
Queens.
Yeah.
People don't usually know boroughs. They usually say where. It's Queens, Jackson Heights. So, yes, I'm a Mets fan. I know.
Rough.
I know.
So rough.
Yeah. Feel sorry for me. Been a Mets fan all my life. Isn't that terrible? And, even when we used to cut school, we used to go down to Shea Stadium, and it was still there. And we used to
It's a beautiful stadium.
Yeah, it was. It really was. And there was a hole in the fence in the back by the where the pitchers practice. What do they call that? Off the top of my head, I can't. Bullpen.
Yeah.
So we used to sneak in by the bullpen and then climb into the bleachers and sit for the day games. A long time ago. Anyway, so I grew up in New York. Now, it was. I talk to my brother about this sometimes. I try to think back, and as we go on talking today, because of the things that have happened and the drugs and all that other stuff, I sometimes mix up the dates and the places. Like, it happened, but it might not have been the exact year that I'm thinking that it might have happened. You know what I mean? I don't know if you mean, but maybe as we continue talking, that'll make more sense.
I think some people call it sometimers.
Maybe.
Yeah, I have it.
Okay.
All the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I like, these things happen, but maybe not exactly, you know. To give you an idea, I did do a lot of drugs when I got out. Even when I got out of the military, I did a lot of drugs. And then I got involved in a guy, and he had me muling drugs across the United States. We used to fly out and fly back to Colombia on like these small airplanes to these airports that don't exist on maps anywhere.
Yeah.
And I used to drive. He used to give it to me. I used to drive across the United States. I used to make deliveries in different places, and I used to bring back the money. And we all got arrested. But I had gotten clean. I had gotten clean in 1985. I stopped using. I stopped dealing. I stopped muling, and I got clean. I had hit a bottom by that time, and a year and a half after I got clean, they arrested about 10 people. Some guy got busted, so to try to get himself out of it, he ratted on everybody. So everybody that he knew, he named, and all of us got rounded up. So I was taken from Florida, where I was living at the time, to Maryland to face a federal grand jury. And I remember the attorney general, the assistant attorney general who was interviewing me at the time, who had me on the stand. He was asking me questions, and I was telling him, I said, I believe you. He said, well, we have a picture of you. I believe you. I know you guys did your homework. I just don't remember it. I just don't remember. Why don't you remember? I think it must be because of all the drugs. I really don't know why, but I just don't remember. And it's funny because my lawyer, they don't allow lawyers in with you when you go into the grand jury room. You know, you can ask to speak to your lawyer, but he can't come in with you. And when I went out to talk to him, he said, it's the first time he's ever seen a transcript where the answer was because I did too many drugs. So that was in there. So I don't remember a lot of things sometimes, and that must be because of the drugs. And it's in a grand jury transcript if you don't believe me. But I grew up in New York, and I did the things that we did in New York. You know, with the streets. We played ball. We hung out. We went to school. And actually, I was kind of smart back then. You know, I don't know what happened to me over the years, but I skipped 8th grade. I went from 7th straight to 9th. And I went to Bronx High School of Science, one of those schools that you have to take a special test to get into. I used to joke that I cheated on it. That's how I got in. But
hey, you got to be smart to cheat some of the systems.
Be able to get away with it. What's he doing? No, but I got into Bronx Science, and I joke sometimes too that in my graduating class, I graduated in 1976 from Bronx High School of Science. In that class was Neil deGrasse Tyson, the famous physicist who
was it really?
Yeah, he was in my class. He was in my class. And also the CEO for Regeneron, the pharmaceutical company that came up with the first COVID vaccine.
Oh, yeah.
The CEO was also in my class.
Wow.
So like everyone did so great from that except me.
I mean, you did join the Air Force, so.
And that was interesting too. I had gotten arrested a couple of times, and my lawyer at one time said to me, "Look, maybe join the military, and we'll see what we could do."
Yeah,
just like Airman Rubenstein reporting as ordered, and he got me off. So because I was joining the Air Force, so he got me off. So
you're able to get out of Most of that through
by joining the Air Force.
wow. Man,
And I became a firefighter in the Air Force, which changed a lot of the way I felt about things. You know, I was a smart ass and getting into fights and smoking pot. I didn't even like pot, but I still, everyone else was doing it, you know. And did, you know, other drugs as well. But the Air Force was different because there was different drugs, different places, different people. And I was a firefighter. So we would work for 24 hours. And this is back before there was like standardized, you know, we worked 24 on and 24 off. So it actually came out to be that we worked 26 on and 22 off because you have to get there an hour early in order to get into uniform and get into, you know, with inspection and you know, they do the roll call, and then to get off, you have to stick around until the other shift did the same things. So yeah, and then you get off. So what we did when we got off at 7 o'clock in the morning is we would drink our breakfast. You know, we'd go find a place that was still open, or we'd go to one of the guys' houses, or we'd go back to the barracks and we'd drink.
Where was that at?
I was stationed at Homestead Air Force Base in Florida. That's the first place when I joined, and that was 1977. It was right after high school.
Went back to your secondary home.
Yeah. So Homestead Air Force Base, we were that's where we stationed. So I liked being a firefighter. It just seemed like something that I was made to do. You know.
You think that has anything to do with New York upbringing?
I think it did. I think it does because, you know, showing off, being tough, wanting to, you know, be the alpha. And here we get a chance to run into burning buildings while others are running out.
Yeah.
You know, or you get to walk out like, I once brought the baby out of a building. It's like, and everyone's going, yeah. It's like, yeah, that's me. I brought the baby out. Ha, 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 ha. You know, like, look at me. I'm, you know, like, so it sort of fed into my ego. But the funny thing about it was the very first day that I showed up at Homestead Air Force Base, I still had my duffel bag over my shoulder, walked over to the fire station, reported, you know, to my duty officer or whatever it was I was doing. And as soon as I put down, I was baptized by fire on that very first day. As soon as I got settled in, we had a call, and there was a car on fire with 3 people inside. And I had to reach into the back seat and try to pull this guy out. And that was the first thing that began the cycle of what eventually became PTSD, I guess.
Yeah.
Because that was a bad day.
Did he make it?
No. None of the 3 of them did.
It's got to be pretty rough.
And I was my baptism by fire in the fire department, you know. So for real, I was reaching into the backseat of a burning car, you know.
How old were you?
I was 18, I guess. Right at 18.
You were young.
I was born in 59 and this is 77. So yeah, right at 18.
Man. Was this on base?
Yeah, an on-base fire.
So they were vets or just?
The one person was a veteran, and then there was the girlfriend and another person, another guy.
Oh, gotcha.
So I guess they were going out to party or something, or maybe coming back from. I don't know. My first day, so I wasn't really. And we never, you know, they were always. We'd get back to the station, no matter what happened. We'd get back to the station, and they go, you know, we could bring the shrinks in if you want, you know, to talk to somebody. And hey, we're tough. We don't need no shrinks. We're tough guys, you know. We're the guys who run into the fires, you know. We're tough guys. And 7 o'clock would roll around, and we'd drink our breakfast and forget all about it. And I think I remember back through the years of all the different things that happened. And I think that first fire, and then there were 2 other incidences that came up. One of them years later, but you're a firefighter, but you're also a medic. You also go out on the ambulance, and, you know, you also have to do the medical calls. And I had a call where a 12-year-old girl in base housing, a 12-year-old girl was on her roller skates, and she stepped off the curb and slid, and the back of her head hit the curb. And that was a fucked up call. Can I say that?
Yeah, you say whatever you want, man.
Yeah, that was
because it is fucked up. You know, it's. I mean, you know, usually whenever we're talking to other people, it's. I don't know. Whenever they're, I don't know. It's almost like there's a like a standard of what PTSD is, or a stereotype, and everyone just kind of assumes that it's some kind of war shit that
yeah, PTSD, it's not just for combat anymore.
it's new slogan. We're coming for you.
Yeah,
we're gonna get you.
And you know, and I apologize for like the teary shit, you know, but when I got out of the military, it's funny because I didn't cry for a long time. In fact, one of my wives once said to me that she thought that I was emotionally bankrupt because I never showed emotion.
I was told the same thing.
And I'm sure that's part of the PTSD until it finally came out.
It took me about 10 years before I finally like had a good cry, like where it was so much that just I don't know, overcame me, I guess.
Oh, mine happened after I was already out of the military, and I was married, my fourth wife, and I was already in Texas, and I was already collecting my disability.
Yeah.
And I was driving down the road one day, and I saw something on the side of the road that looked like something that happened when I was in the service. And it triggered something in my head that made me, I pulled over the side of the road. I couldn't breathe. I started bawling my eyes out. I was crying. I couldn't catch my breath. My wife actually had to call the cops to find me. And the cops asked me what was going on, and one of them looked and he said, no, it's not what you thought it was.
Yeah.
I was like, but I still couldn't stop crying. It
just brings you right back to that moment
when it happened. And that's right after that is when I went to see the shrink for the first time at the VA. It's like, and she said, you got PTSD.
Whether you want to admit it or not. Whether you wanted it.
Yeah, congratulations.
You've hit the lottery, folks. Yeah. You got it. So have you been to combat at all?
Well, I went to Grenada.
Oh, okay.
But I
haven't met a lot of people that were in Grenada.
Yeah. Well, after I re-upped, that's when I got shipped out. And it wasn't even none of that bothered me. Nothing there. It was like, we were just doing our job, you know. It's like you're helping people, you know. If somebody got hurt or, you know, students were fucked up, we were just helping people. We were the medics, you know. So I didn't really, you know, was I there? Yeah, but was I don't know if I don't know if you call it I was involved or in the combat or, you know, whatever. But a plane came down, one of the F-4s came down, and they had smoke in the cockpit, and they sent out the fire truck to send out the crash crew. And that's how I got hurt. I went out, we were on the first team. I climbed up on top of the nose of the F-4, and stupidity or an accident, or maybe somebody pushed me, or maybe I got knocked off, but I fell off the nose of the F-4. And I tell people I passed out in Grenada and woke up in San Antonio.
What did it
broke my back.
Really?
It took me like 6 months learning how to walk again.
Jeez.
That's why my legs are all messed up.
Man.
I've had 5 surgeries on my back since then.
Where at?
2 were in the military. Then 3 have been from civilian doctors since the military. Are all 3 of them it's civilian doctors? Yeah, I guess all 3 have been. Yeah. One guy, he did the surgery, and I felt a little bit better. And it was like, you know, I was like, oh, I'm feeling good doing this, doing that. And oops, I went a little too far. And they actually had to go back in like a year later to do the same surgery, number 3 all over again,
What kind of surgeries were they?
All of them were lower back discectomies and, bone spurs and discectomies. And what else do they call it? Laminectomies. Laminectomies.
Yeah.
Except for the 5th one. The 5th one really made a difference. Like, I used to go to sleep the way my days used to be because of all the pain from my back and my leg, is it felt like there was a shooting pain going from my back all the way down my leg. And it felt like there was piano wire wrapped around my ankle. And in the morning, it was just wrapped around my ankle, so it hurt a little bit. But as the day progressed, it got tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. By the end of the day, it was so tight, I was like crying from the pain. The 5th surgery, the guy went in and changed everything. He removed discs, replaced it with crushed cadaver bone.
Mm-hmm.
He put a cage around my spinal cord and put pins in, and then screws in the pins. And like, I got so much hardware on my back now. That's one of the reasons I can't bend over anymore, because there's so much hardware on my back just holding everything together. But when I got out of there, it's like I still have pain, but it's not as severe as quickly. It's like I can get a lot further. I could go a lot, but I still have the drop foot. I have no use of my left leg. I have no reflex in my knee, no reflex in my ankle, no feeling in the bottom of my foot. And I just drag it behind me. So that's why I wear the brace, because of the drop foot. It's like, otherwise I'd be tripping over my feet all the time. Now the brace starts to get heavy and I take it off a lot. And a lot of times I walk around the house without the brace on. And that's how I end up falling so much. It's like, have you fallen this month? Yeah. How many times? Twice, I guess. Well, we could get, you should really remove your carpets. It's not my carpets, Doc.
Yeah. I'm not an idiot. I understand.
Yeah.
Believe me, we got rid of the carpet a long time ago. Just so you would stop saying this.
Yeah.
No, we get it. See, that's the thing about back surgery. It never goes back to where it was ever. It's like it takes care of something. Because I've had 2. I've had a microdiscectomy, and then they just did some kind of T separator where they went in, separated the vertebrae, and then put like this spongeous weird material in it.
Cool.
To where it was it went in, and then they drilled in, like secured it, and then the bone, I guess, kind of grows around.
Yeah,
it.
that's what they say.
They're supposed to be really good, but I mean, I'm nowhere close to where I was, so it kind of sucks. But I mean, I can move around now. I still have a lot of nerve damage. So taking on a forklift, if anyone ever decides they want to do that, don't. They're like 6,000 pounds. It doesn't work.
Yeah. No, and I don't care. Would I do it again? Yes. I loved the military. Would I put myself in the same position as I did, even though I know I'm going to get hurt? Yes, absolutely. I loved the military.
How long were you in for?
6 years, just over 6 years. So I loved them. It was right after I re-upped that I got hurt.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of a pretty damn good example of. I mean, so not only were you what are they calling? Not first responder. So not only you're a first responder while you were in, and you were also in combat and also doing what a first responder does. Were you a firefighter whenever you got out?
For a little while, yeah.
Oh, okay. But in Florida?
First in Florida and then in North Carolina.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, that's rough.
You know what? Actually, when I moved here for a little while, I was with the volunteers, the Round Rock Volunteers, just for a little while.
Yeah.
So I had the knowledge. In fact, I saw an ad on the television that said Round Rock's looking for volunteer firefighters. And I called up the number that they had, and the guy said, "Hi, this is the chief, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Well, I can't do it anymore, but I got a lot of knowledge. Maybe I can help, teach some of the kids or something." And actually, I started teaching for a little while down at TEACS, the Texas A&M University. Oh, yeah. They have the Braden Fire School down there. Mm-hmm. So I taught the municipal school for a little while. Had the knowledge, I just couldn't do it anymore. Yeah. Like the old expression, those who know do, those who can't teach.
That's right.
I taught
for a little valuable while. Skill, though.
I taught for a little while, while. And the other thing that happened is because I didn't have to work anymore, I couldn't work anymore.
Yeah.
I got I'm 100% IU, individual unemployability.
Yeah.
So my rating is actually 90%, and with VA math. So I was rated 80% for my back and 30% for my leg, and 30% for PTSD, 30% for PTSD, 10% for my hand. And that all added up to 90 VA math.
VA math has got to be the dumbest shit that anyone's ever put out there.
The way they explained it to me was, you are starting off with 100%. So we're giving you 60% for your back, so now there's only 40% left. Now we're giving you 30% for the PTSD, but 30% of the 40% that's left, not of your whole 100 anymore. So that's only 12%. So now what's left is 28%. Now we're giving you another 30% for your leg, but we're not getting 30% of the 100. You're getting 30% of the 28. So that's why it only ends up to 90%, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
There's got to be another way to figure it. Everything they touch just goes to shit. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The VA is what it is.
It's the VA.
It's
Texas is different. I mean, from all the other VAs that I've ever been to, Florida, New York, North Carolina, Texas, they try to treat you better. I mean, Texas treats its veterans better than anywhere I've ever been.
San Antonio is one of the best ones I've ever seen.
I've
heard. I even had a guy that was out in Houston, and I'm sure I've said this story to our audience plenty of times, but he had been shot in the neck, like his first convoy, and he still has a lot of survivor's guilt for that, which it's like, man, like you can't, like you still went out there and did shit. Don't discredit anything you've done. But he was like, the hospitals I go to here in Houston, they fucking suck. He said, man, we go down to San Antonio, they treat us like kings. I mean, they're just like, hey, can we get this for you? Can we get this for you? And he's like, oh yeah, we don't get anything like that in Houston. And the one in Waco is just an old Air Force or Army base that was in World War II or something. So all those buildings are still there. There's some, I mean, they have some okay things, but it's not top of the line, state of the art or anything. I mean, they still give out all the medications that, gabapentin's got to be, which I'm a big advocate to try to get away from gabapentin, just because we found a bunch of studies that came out that gabapentin's linked to suicidal ideation and depression. And that's like the number one thing that if you ask most vets, what do they give you for your pain? They're like, oh, tramadol or gabapentin. I mean, it sucks.
Yeah.
We always try to find more holistic approaches, just because it seems like I have to take so many pills as it is. I'm trying to give my liver a break.
Oh man.
Yeah. I mean, even
pills after pills. But I got out of the service in 83. Did I get that right? Yeah, 83. I got out of the service in 83.
Yeah.
In 84, I found myself going across country and doing a lot of drugs and going out of the country and traveling and getting myself in lots of trouble. In 85, I figured I hit my bottom. That was I had no more drugs, no more money, no more friends. Family didn't want to talk to me. And that was the first time I tried to kill myself. And it didn't work. I actually jumped in front of a truck on an icy road in New York.
Wow.
And the truck skidded on a patch of ice and crashed into a parked car. And the guy got out and started screaming. But I didn't know this at first. I'd closed my eyes and I heard the crash. And I thought to myself, this dying shit ain't too bad. I don't feel so bad. This is okay. And then I realized I didn't die. And that's when I stopped doing drugs. It's like I couldn't, I knew that was the bottom. That was it. I haven't taken any mood altering chemicals or alcohol since 1985. So when the doctors want to give me all that shit, I just tell them, ibuprofen, man.
Yeah.
I'll suffer with you. So I still have a lot of pain at the end of the day, and I don't have the the Oxycontin. I don't have the Demerol or the whatever the other things that when they did the surgeries, they said, "Oh, we could give you Dilaudid." No,
no thanks.
Thank you very much, but no thanks. Yeah. So I don't take Dilaudid. I don't take Demerol. I don't take Oxycontin. I don't. So by the end of the day, I'm still in pain a lot of times. So like if I sleep till noon, then I can usually get through the rest of the day without a lot of pain. But I wake up, and the PTSD doesn't help because that happened. Now I wake up I wake up like every 2 hours. And it's either from twisting and turning because of the pain, or because I wake up in a cold sweat, or because of a nightmare, or I tell people, I sleep like a baby. I wake up every 2 hours peeing and crying.
That's got to be one of the weirdest things. When a baby does sleep, they sleep okay, but it's not constant. It's not throughout the whole night.
That's right. Every 2 hours, get up to pee and cry.
Yeah. That's a good way to. That's what I'm going to start explaining to people. I'm sleeping like a baby. I just pissed and shit myself, and I'm getting ready to cry this next time.
And the other thing I do is perimeter checks. I didn't even know that was what it was called when I first went to see the shrink. It's like I wake up when I wake up. It's not like I just lay in bed when I wake up. I wake up and I'm sweating or crying or just got to pee. But I get up and I go to the bathroom and I'll wash my face. And then I'll walk around the house and I'll check to see that the doors are locked and the windows are closed and everything's okay. The alarm is on. Check the cameras to see that nothing's been going on. And I just would go back to bed after that. And the shrink told me that was a symptom of PTSD. It's called perimeter checks. Well, I know what a perimeter check is, but I didn't know that's what they called it when I do it in my own house,
Yeah.
I'm not going out to the wire, That's not what, And the things that fucked me up, I said it again, sorry. The things that messed me up were not the combat. It was not the combat. It was the other stuff.
That's
I don't know. But then, because I didn't have to work anymore, I decided I was going to go back to school, and I was going to just everything that they'll give me, I'll take. I have I went back to school first to become a social worker, so I got a bachelor's in social work. Then I still had some free time and nothing to do, and I couldn't go back to work. Because if you do work and make too much money, then they take away the individual unemployability. Because if you're able to work, then how can you be unemployable? So you got to be real careful about how you work that with the VA. So there's not really a whole lot I could do anyway. Yeah. But so I did. So I went back to school again. I got certified as a PTSD and a military sexual trauma counselor.
Really?
And then I went back to school again, and I got certified as a mass casual incident debriefer, MC. ID. Yeah, MCID, mass casualty incident debriefer. And then I don't know. My fourth wife got pregnant, and all of a sudden, my religion started to call to me again. It's like, what do we want to do? We want to raise the baby Jewish. We want to bring her up in a Jewish atmosphere. We want to do the right thing religion-wise. You know, we don't want her growing up, you know, and we wanted to have religion in her life. And so we started going, I started going back to synagogue again, and we brought my pregnant wife with us. And then she had the baby, and we would bring the baby with us. And even after we got divorced, I still felt that pull from we were fighting. We hadn't quite gotten divorced yet. We were still like fighting and getting separated a couple times, but I still had that feeling, that pulling towards the religion. And back in 2015, I decided to go back to seminary, and it took me 5 years to finish all of that stuff. But in 2019, it was either a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, I was ordained. And I was ordained as I'm a rabbi. I'm an official rabbi. I'm officially an ordained rabbi. I'm a clergy. I can perform weddings and civil unions and do funerals. Or one of the things that they ask on the final, when I was taking my final, the very last thing I had to write is a 10-page paper on why I would make a good rabbi. And I wrote a lot about the fact that I think that rabbis these days have to know a lot more than the rabbis of old, because there's so many different things going on in life. And I have experience that I bet a lot of rabbis don't. Like friends of mine say I'm the rabbi that says fuck. I don't know a lot of rabbis that say fuck.
Yeah, I think you might be the only rabbi I've ever met.
So I have that connection, and I have a connection with military.
Yeah,
you know, and I'm with IW, Irreverent Warriors, and I go on their hikes and stuff, and I like to hang out with the people from IW.
Yeah.
We all have the same stuff in common. Like we were goofing earlier. We all have bad backs. We all have bad knees. We all have drug histories. We all have PTSD. So it's like, and we can talk to each other. We don't even have to talk to each other. Just being next to somebody who you know knows exactly what you went through. Sometimes you look at your wife and you can't say, I feel like killing myself, or I feel like killing you.
Yeah. Because then they
don't see it.
Yeah, they take it seriously.
They take it differently than me.
I mean, I kind of mean it, but I kind of don't. I'm just very frustrated, and I can't talk to you because you don't understand what's going on.
And I'd love for you to understand.
Yeah, but
I need.
You're just gonna think I'm crazy, and I just can't. You know, it's. But on the hikes, I mean, there's a lot of times where you can just. People just start talking about stuff, and I think it's because they all know that we're all vets, so we've all had the same kind of shit happen to us. So instead of saying, well, you know, I don't want to be offensive, or I don't want this to come out weird, they're just like, man, fuck all this. I can't fucking believe this shit's going on. And then the person next to him's like, yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Or, like, you know, what I always try to encourage people, because we went to Baton Rouge, I think, at the beginning of this year, and somebody brought up a pretty good point, because there are a lot of friend groups that exist within all the group and the IW organization.
It is, there are cliques.
Yeah, and I have nothing wrong with that, but it's the people, like, for the ones that come from out of town, like, I really like for them to interact with everybody. Network, that's all good, but it's the ones that like are actually in the city, in the area, you know, that's the time that you actually, you know, go meet with them, because you might not have even known that they were even, you know, in this area. And that's the times where you can have somebody, let's just say something happens and you need help immediately. Well, that's the person that's going to be closest there.
Yeah.
So it'd be better for you to also interact with those people as well. Interact with as many people as you want, but really the locals are, you know, because then you can start. Well, I mean, thankfully I'm lucky enough to be a part of the Marine Corps League over in Waco, so and we get together once a month.
Oh, that's cool.
But I mean, right now we're planning the state convention, so we have like 6 of us that are working pretty close together. But even then, I mean, we'll stay in contact. There's like a main group that stays in contact with each other. But even from my PTSD groups, I think I have at least 2 or 3 friends that I met from one of those. But I mean, they were in the same area, so I got lucky enough to have them as like. It's really hard for me to say friend because I say it in a general term, but a lot of people are just acquaintances because you run it like, to me, friend is just it's a different level, and I'm putting you in a higher category as a friend because that's somebody that if shit starts going downhill, like I know you have my back, but it's not everybody's like that, so. But I have a lot of acquaintances, which doesn't mean I wouldn't do anything for you. It just means that like I don't hold you higher up there.
I think one of the nice things about, at least from my point of view, when I first joined Irreverent Warriors and I went on my first Silkies hike and I didn't know anybody, I think one of the things that I liked about the group was, like you were saying, I don't have to really know you, but if I'm feeling fucked up, I can say to you, hey, I'm feeling fucked up. And you're not going to go, oh, I'm not in the mood I don't want to talk to, I don't know what you mean. I don't want to talk to you.
Do we need to get professional help for you?
Yeah. Do I need to call somebody?
Nah, I just need to get the shit off my chest, man.
And I've done that a couple of times. I've called people a couple of times, or even online. I've said, well, it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I can't sleep. Someone want to give me a call? Someone can call me. It's nice. It's nice to have people. I was thinking the other day about being able to give back as much as I possibly can for all the things that I've gotten from all the places that I've been. And I guess, we as military people, we have that in us, that we're just givers, we're givers. And we're hanging out with other people that are also givers. So sometimes it's hard to say, I need to take. Mm-hmm. So I was hoping that, I don't know, I got this imagination that in my head, now that I'm clergy, now that I'm a cleric, now that I'm a rabbi, I'm ordained, that I could do these things. And I belong to a group of people that don't see things the same way as other people, or other people can't see things, that maybe I can figure out a way to become, it's a weird, like the official cleric of Irreverent Warriors. Like anytime they need an invocation, they know they can count on me. I'll do the invocation. And anytime they have a wedding, that would be great. I'd love to, officiate some weddings. And anytime they want like a blessing of the bikes or a blessing before a hike, it's like, yeah, bam, let's get bam, because I am one of you guys.
So did you go to the School of Theology?
No, I went to a seminary. I went to the Rabbinical Seminary. It's called Rabbinical Seminary International in New York.
Okay. So I'm not sure how the programs work because I've only known Baylor's program, but I know in theirs they kind of like learn a little bit about a lot
of the religions. Okay. I had to study all religions. Okay, yeah. I had to write reports about. I have a book in my cabinet. Well, it's over there now. I moved all my clergy stuff over there, so I had it all together. So I have all my Bibles and all my prayer books, but I also have a whole shelf. There's a Book of Mormon over there. There's the New Testament is over there. There's the what was the other one? There's a couple of different religious books over there, so that I have an idea. I've written reports about all of them, so I have an idea of, and that's what was in that last paper that I wrote, the 10-page report. It's like I can deal with people. It's like the rabbis of old had Jews to deal with, and that's all they had to do. They had to marry a Jew to another Jew, and that's the end of it. Who do we know that can talk to both a Catholic and a Jew, or a Protestant and a Buddhist, or we did that all the time in the barracks. What's the difference? Plus, I have it in my seminary. Plus, I have it in my, in my reports. So I'm kind of like, I'm the right guy to go to. And I want to be able to do that. And, for other veterans, the very first veteran wedding I ever officiated, it made me feel fantastic. Like a veteran, a Marine, wanted to get married and wanted me to come and do his officiating. And it was like, yeah, that's...
Was he Jewish as well?
No, he wasn't. And that's the thing. I don't have to do it just for Jewish people.
Oh, okay.
So, which is great. It can be two. Look, you want to do a civil union, two women? Two women want me to do a civil union for them or marry them? That's what we're, if it is legal now, right, in Texas?
Yeah, I think it's legal everywhere.
I think it's everywhere,
yeah.
Right? If two women come up to me and say, like, we'd like to get married, can you marry us? I'd be happy. You veterans, I'd be happy to. One of them's a veteran. I'd be happy to. I mean, I'll do it even for civil, but for civilians, I'll charge them.
Then I think Obama might have passed him like 14.
Maybe.
Somewhere around there. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't remember. But
12, somewhere.
Civilians, I'll charge them.
So,
you got to give me some money. I'll do it, blah, blah, blah. But for a veteran, I'd be happy to do it. It makes me proud to be able to do it. I don't care.
So did you grow up in the Jewish faith?
Yeah.
So like you can trace your heritage back or
yeah.
So I mean you guys do you know anything about your past at all?
Yes. I know a little. Are we running out of time?
No, my watch just keeps going off.
I know a little bit about my recent past and a little bit about my distant past. My recent past is my grandfather came from Poland to the United States. There were something like 14 brothers and sisters. 2 came to the U.S., 2 went to Mexico. 1 went to South America. The rest of them didn't make it past World War II. The rest of them were rounded up in Hitler's...
Do you know what camp they went to?
No, not all of them. No, but all that was left was my grandfather that we knew of was my grandfather. One of his brothers who went to California, a lady named Bronia who lived in Mexico, and then I actually talked to.
That's a hell of a name, Bronia. Yeah.
And then I had somebody from South. We knew that my grandfather's father ran a tire and wheels store in a town called Lenska, I think it was. And then somebody wrote me an email. Yeah, in Poland. Somebody wrote me an email and said, listen, my great-grandfather also had a wheels store in Lenska in Poland in that year. Is it possible that they knew each other? Well, it turns out it was the same guy. So I found out that I had a relative in South America that I didn't even know about, and now I talk to. And then they had kids who went to Israel, so now I have relatives in Israel that I didn't even know about until like about 5 years ago or so. So yeah, we could trace it pretty far back, but not way far back. And I also, as a rabbi, they do a thing. I don't know if they do it in other religions, but they do a thing where when you get ordained, the rabbi, there are 3 rabbis who have to ordain. You have to be ordained by 3 other rabbis. Mm-hmm. And the 3 rabbis who ordain you have to have been through the same process. And what they do is then they touch you on the head and then let you know that you've just been touched by somebody who's been touched by somebody who's been touched by somebody, and they can trace it all the way back to Moses' brother Aaron.
Yeah. Wow.
So I've been touched by somebody who's been touched by somebody who's been touched by somebody who can take it back all the way back to
I don't think I've ever heard of that in any of the other religions.
And that's how so you just can't becoming a rabbi. Yeah. It's like a big deal to be in the Jewish religion.
So, you just one day, no, I'm a rabbi.
Yeah, go ahead, whatever.
Yeah, it's
like it's not like going online and finding the United Life Church and becoming an online preacher,
an ordained minister.
Ordained minister. Now they can marry people.
Yeah,
but I could do all those things. I could do the naming ceremonies. I could do the baby namings. I can do the conversions and things like that if you did want to. But I thought like one of the things I was thinking was this would be great if I could. Wouldn't it be great if I could be the official cleric for Irreverent Warriors? I mean, it's every time they need an invocation, and I don't know.
Well, the right people to talk to live in this city, so I mean that's the way to go.
Yeah, but it's one of those things. It's like I got so many things going on. I'm not sure that it's even feasible. But
well, I do have a question, and I mean, I've always been pretty, I guess, interested. I just haven't really looked into it. I think I have an idea, but so what's the difference between Christianity, Judaism, and Islam?
The basic differences, without getting into a whole conversation about religion, Christianity believes that Jesus is the Messiah and has been here and will return. Judaism does not believe that the Messiah has been here yet. We're still waiting.
And King Solomon's temple still hasn't been rebuilt.
Right. And we're waiting for this to happen.
And that's where they believe, what's the, it's not Mecca, it's
Jerusalem?
Yeah. There's some kind of building that's
the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem.
Maybe
the last remaining wall of the first temple,
second temple, where that's supposed to be rebuilt.
Jerusalem.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Islam
is like an offshoot. Maybe you can trace the three patriarchs of Judaism were Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob had a brother named Esau.
Mm-hmm.
Esau left the family and went a different direction, and my understanding is that Esau's offspring became Islam, was Islam. That's my understanding of it.
So is the first part of the Quran the same thing as the Pentateuch?
I don't think so, because the Quran wasn't written by... Wasn't it written by the prophets? It wasn't written by Muhammad?
That maybe, I don't know.
I don't think it was written by, the Pentateuch is the
first,
5 books, the first 5 books of and that's...
Part of the Torah that's...
We believe that Moses wrote them, most of it, because of God wrote it, and then the golden calf thing happened, so God made him rewrite the whole thing himself.
So it's basically, so you have the Torah, and then the first 5 books of the Christian Bible is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, and... But
then they go on to use Jesus as the beginning of the New Testament and all of the, all of his teachings now.
The shitty part about all of this is like, especially with the religion wars, with the tensions in the Middle East, the tensions in Israel, and with us, is that we're more of a Christian faith based. Israel's Jewish, or the Judean belief, and then you have the Middle East, which Islam is really taking over the world. I mean, even Indonesia has a ton of. I mean, there's so many.
There's more Muslims in the world than there are any other.
But all the wars, all the major wars right now, all believe in the same God. It's just more or less the prophets that it comes down to.
I think the Quran was written by the Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah, I believe so. But see, I don't know who Muhammad is. That's I don't really. Yeah, it doesn't. I haven't really.
Supposedly Allah spoke to him, and Allah is the name of their God.
Allah just means God.
Right.
That's why they say Allah Akbar is. It's like
praise God.
Praise God. Which it's really crazy how similar
What's Arabic, Aramaic, and Hebrew? They're all very closely related.
Whenever you say "Assalamu alaikum,"
and we say "Shalom Aleichem,"
yeah, it's very similar,
right?
Which I don't have the accent that you do, but good on you.
And it's because Aramaic broke to Hebrew and Arabic, and even if you look at languages, even if you look at Spanish, Portuguese,
they're all Latin based.
Latin, right? Yeah. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Latin, French. You can find even in English we have words that we could trace back to the Latin roots.
We're a hodgepodge of different languages.
I have an 11-year-old daughter, and she's taking English in school, and they were talking about why some of these languages are so easy to learn, and why English is so hard.
Yeah.
And we were going over words like they have the same ending, but they don't even end, like B-O-U-G-H is bow, but R-O-U-G-H is rough.
Yeah. Well, I always grew up in, I've been studying a little bit of German, but, my grandparents used to say, oh, I guess it went kaput, and I was like, yeah, it is a word, it went broken or whatever. And then I learned that it's a German word, and kaput means like it's broken. And I was like, man, sometimes the stuff that you don't know just makes you feel so stupid whenever you realize, like, oh, that. But I do like the origin of it. I mean, it's one thing I'm thankful for. Going to Baylor, which kind of I guess up with this conversation a little bit. But they're a Baptist school, but they really take an interest in trying to teach you a little bit about everything. Which I always thought was really interesting because we have to read the annotated Oxford Bible, and it's like this thick. It's huge, and it's paper. I mean, you can see through the paper. Like it looks like one of the old Bibles, but it's really thick. But they had one of the Catholic canons in there. It's called the Book of Tobit. I don't know if you read it or not, but most of the stuff that you read in the Old Testament, it's kind of, I don't want to say drab or boring, but it kind of is, because it's all worded in the language that they had back then, and that's how they read, and it was interesting to them, and that's what kept them occupied. And then the way the New Testament come around, but the Book of Tobit, I mean, it's a very and it's a canon, which is a book of law, if you don't know. And it's a Catholic canon, but it's not a canon in any of the the Protestant. Have you ever heard of the? I'm sorry, my mind's crazy. But so there's I watched a whole documentary on it. There's right outside of Greece. There's a little island, and they say that they've been practicing Christianity since Jesus first came around, and they pray so much that it's involuntary. So if they're doing yard work, if they're in their sleep, they're still praying. It's just so much.
Wow.
So if we were just to go silent, eventually they would just start muttering out prayers and hymns and all this. But it's very hard to get in there. They have people come from like all across the world. I can't remember what language they have to speak, but it's like a certain language that they read the Bible from. But the guy that they interviewed was an American. I want to say he was from New York or somewhere around there. But that was the craziest shit I've ever seen.
I'm not sure. I've never heard of it. But like the Torah itself is all written in Hebrew.
Yeah.
Except there are places in the Torah that they leave the original Aramaic from King Solomon and King David's days in it. So there are a few prayers that we say in Aramaic, even though we speak Hebrew.
Yeah.
And those Aramaic prayers are probably probably very familiar to Muslims, even though they wouldn't say those words.
So
which might be the same thing that this island has, because from Jesus' days, that might be it might be the Aramaic.
Yeah, it might be something that. Whatever area was.
I don't know. I'm just.
Yeah, I have no idea either. I'm the one that watched the documentary, but it obviously didn't stand too much. But
wake up at 3:00 in the morning, turn something on, and look, a documentary about a religion. Let me see what this one's about.
But then it was just, but the shit they were saying, I was just like, there's no way. Who the hell does this? I guess they.
Well, you were saying earlier that I asked you why you wanted to interview me. You said, and some of the stuff that you write on Facebook was really funny. And I thought, I say this all the time to people. You think I'm funny? You should see my brother Neil. He's a stand-up comedian. And actually, Neil was in town a couple of weeks ago and did a fundraiser for Irreverent Warriors. And
so this is the guy that has a huge beard?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they got Irreverent Warriors in the Round Rock area got to see the guy that I'm always saying, you think I'm funny, you should see my brother Neil. But he has a joke that he tells. I don't know if he told it that night or not. I don't remember. But he says that he's got two friends. One of them is a Scientologist, and the other is a Mormon. The Scientologist believes that God came down as an alien and threw a bunch of people into a volcano, and that's how they got their religion. The Mormon believes that John Smith found a plate and used a magical rock, and he was the only one who was able to read it. And both of them think the other one is an idiot.
Oh, yeah,
religion in a nutshell.
It is really funny, though. I don't know. Religion's always been one of those.
You can't talk religion a lot because people want to argue their religion. And I'll give you for instance. My daughter, 11 years old, has a friend in her class. They went on a field trip. In their school, what they were doing because of the COVID is a parent would drive two children to the field trip. One parent, two children. That way, separation, 6 feet, masks, windows open, the whole thing. So I had my daughter and this girl. This girl who's 11 or 12 years old tells me that she has decided that she doesn't want to be called she anymore. She would like to be called they or them because her gender is now fluid. Now, we were talking about, what were we talking about that made me think of this? Must be all the drugs I took.
Something about religion?
Religion, yes. So I don't mind you telling me that that's how you feel. I told her. I don't mind you telling me how you feel.
Yeah.
But asking me to change how I talk to you, how I believe, is like me saying to you, I don't want you to be Christian anymore. You need to be Jewish now, because me forcing you, my religion on you, is forcing you to do something that you don't want. You're trying to force your on me, and I don't want that either. To me, it's the same thing. It's like, and that's what you were talking about with religion. I don't believe that I believe that you can believe anything you want to believe. Whatever your belief is, that's fine. In fact, when I gave the invocation at Thanksgiving last year, one of the things that I said was, I leave my hat on. And when I pray, it stays on. That's what Jews do. But if you want to take yours off, if you want to get down on one knee, if you want to bow your head, if you want to clasp your hands, or you don't want to do any of those things, I feel you should be allowed to pray any way you want to.
Yeah.
I believe that your religion, your belief, whatever it is, or your belief in no religion, whatever your belief is, you should be afforded the right to believe that way. I would never try to force myself on you. So all I ask in return is that you don't try to force yourself on me. Yeah. Whatever your belief is, whatever that belief is that I don't believe, I just ask that you don't try to force it on me. And that's the way I feel about those things too. It's like, this is what I believe.
Yeah.
You could believe what you want. I'm okay with that. But don't try to force it on me. Don't try to shove. Don't try to Bible bang me. Don't try to gender bang me. Don't try to, whatever it is you believe in, that's okay. I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
I think,
I try to make my prayer, even when I pray, when I did the invocation, I try to make it so that it's all inclusive.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name Jesus or name Buddha or name John Smith or the guy who jumped into the volcano. I don't know.
I think this is just my personal thought. I mean, I don't know how much it really matters or not, but so they went and did studies, or they kind of observed some of these African tribes way back. I don't know, maybe around World War II. They'd never been touched by, or had never seen a white man. So they had been living their tribal life for however long, and they witnessed one of these things they were doing was going out to the crops and to the fields, and they were jumping because they hadn't had any rain. But they were somebody asked them what they were doing. They said that they were encouraging the crops to grow, and that was part of their religious thing. But then you have to, if you kind of go back and look throughout most of history, there's been some kind of mankind's always looked to the sky and thought there was something more. And you have with the three main religions that we have now, a bunch of offshoots of those, and then you have Taoism's been around, I think, the longest recorded that we have. But then you had the Romans, the Greeks. That's where all the mythology comes from, but that was their religion, so you wouldn't have called it a mythology then. And then you had the Egyptians, which they kind of all were, I mean, they kind of just were, when we look back at it, it's kind of around the same time.
Idolatry, there's a lot of idols. And with the Romans and the Greeks, they had the old gods and the new gods.
Yeah.
And
But for all of this time, we've always looked to something higher. I had my problems with my faith. I mean, whenever I was, I don't know, like 8, I decided to pick up a bicycle one day and I drove to a church myself. I mean, I rode to a church myself and I just started attending church. Like, I don't know what it was. That's what I did. So a lot of my morals and beliefs do reside in the Christian faith,
sure,
but I don't practice constantly. But what I'm trying to get to, I guess, at all of this is, so you had all of these people believe all of this stuff for so long, but there has to be some kind of reason, whether whether they wanted to believe that there was numerous gods, was it polytheism? So you have all these different gods, or if you have one, or if one of these gods was meant to be the one that brought down all these other ones, whatever it is, that sometimes that faith is just what it takes to get you through whatever it is. And I have a lot of issues with the Bible, just because I'm one of the guys that I have to be more factual. I have to know this, I have to know that. And then I was like 30 years old, and this 20-year-old guy, we were playing flag football at Baylor one day, and I was telling him kind of the same story, and he goes, you should look at the Bible more as a guidebook, so whenever something does happen, you can go reference that, because that's
a guide, not a.
Yeah. So I mean, otherwise it would all be.
It's not a textbook; it's a guide.
Yeah, it would either be Deuteronomy or Leviticus, right. And it would just be boom, boom, boom. Which is either Deuteronomy is all about numbers and Leviticus is all about laws. So, but that's not how it is. But I wonder, just my personal belief, what I've seen with the way America's going now, and I don't want to get like too crazy political or anything, because I don't want anybody to feel like they can't listen to this, or I'm still going to talk to anybody, because I could give a fuck less what religion you are, what you call yourself as. If your religion asked me to tell you to call you this, I would still call you this. Just like if somebody wanted me to call them by a pronoun, don't get mad at me if I don't know right away. I think that's stupid to do that, but I still show you the respect because, it is what it is. But sometimes, you just, I guess, what am I? In the early 2000s, late 90s, it seemed like there were more Christians and more people who went to church in general, and their beliefs and their morals kept them more grounded. And now it just seems like, I don't know if it's the media or if it's the politicians or if it's the lack of faith, but one of those three things is really becoming a problem. Like, I understand where a lot of sides are coming from. I look at it from both angles because, me personally, I grew up, like, I had this older black lady brought me into her house and raised me for like almost 2 years. So I got to look at a lot of stuff from that perspective. And, I'm very appreciative of it because now, I have an understanding. I don't know what it's like. I'll never speak on it that way because I don't know what it's like. But the overall thing is that people don't talk enough and they just believe what they fucking see now, and everybody's at each other's throat. But I've been to so many places to where, at least here in Texas, so many places where there's so many people who are every different race and every different color and every different gender and all this other shit. And as long as you're talking to each other, which, I guess this is what it all boils down to with what this is turning into, is if you just talk to one another, you might actually get to know that person and see who the fuck they are. And they might actually be somebody that, that you like. And if you don't like them, then you just don't like them. Like, that's what's wrong with that? I mean, I've met a ton of Marines that I just I cannot stand. We don't talk anymore. But if he asked me for help, if he was around, yeah, I would totally help him out. But I'm not gonna. And I feel like there's a lot of people that are like that now. Like, if you just actually talk to them, they probably would help you, But a lot of that is, this all does circle back around to everything we were talking about. But it does come back to, like, a lot of what the Christian faith for me taught was, like to love one another. What, and what they teach is the priestly version, because they say in the Pentateuch there's like 4 different authors if you look at it from a scholarly approach. But the priestly one is what they wrote. That's what most of the pastors in like these small ass towns will give out. So it's more of like supposed to be an uplifting thing. But like, I think a lot of religions kind of teach the same thing. And I've heard a lot of Muslim people tell me that Islam's, there's a lot of good things, but I haven't read the Quran, so I really don't know. But even in the Jewish faith, I've seen, the Jewish people that I have met have been pretty good to go. So I can't imagine. I just feel like there's like a lack of even with
communication.
Communicate. But like, even if you were talking about religion to somebody, like, people don't even want to have that conversation. They just shut it down. But this all does, like I was saying, this all does tie into it because, as I was saying, we talk, we have all these conversations, but the church does connect a lot of people together. And I was talking to a guy the other day from Houston, and he said, if it wasn't for God, if he didn't have something to look forward to, if he didn't have that higher power to believe in, he doesn't know where he'd be. But that's him. And sometimes that's just what it takes. What it all boils down to is a futuristic mindset. You had to have something to believe in. You had to have something to look forward to. That's what he is looking forward to, is going home to his heaven after he passes away. Some people need an idea of, okay, I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I'm 40, so I'm going to start this business. It's the same thing inside your head. You just go about it 2 different ways. because you have to do a lot of things to get to both of those points. He has to pray a lot. He has to live right. He has to have a good moral standard. He has to do right by the way, the Bible has said. And the other guy has to do, hopefully, right by the ethics and what the government's kind of laid out, which, I'm not a huge fan of the government.
Trying to mix religion and government, though, is that's dangerous to start with. I think getting back, I think, I don't know if I made it clear, or maybe I made it a big mix mash of it, but I don't want to argue with anybody about their beliefs. Whatever your belief is, I want to encourage you to continue to believing it.
Yeah.
Whether it's my belief or not, you have the right to believe it, and I want to encourage you to continue to believe it. And I want to be. That's the only liberal thing about me. That's the only liberal thing about me. The rest of me, I'm pretty much a red state. But I want to be able to be there for you. I've got the certifications, I've got the degrees, I can counsel, I can listen. If you need to talk to me, I'd love to counsel you. I'd love to be able, and I'd love to be able to I'd like to be able to let people know that they can talk to me. They could talk to me. It's not going to go anywhere. I'm not going to, this conversation, what you say to me is confidential and it's not going anywhere else. And I'm not going to.
Well, this one's going on the internet.
Well, I'm not talking about that.
Yeah,
this one's. Just leave out the part about me talking to my wife about lasagna.
Yeah. Well, she can bring the lasagna. I fucking love lasagna. If you haven't noticed from this, it's good.
Yeah, I don't miss many meals either.
Yeah, it's real shitty that politics and religion have to it divides people, because I think deep down inside we all just want to be able to talk to one another. Some people just say, "Oh, because of the way you look," and this goes to both sides. Because I've seen the way, like, some of my grandparents' friends were. I remember those days for them.
It used to be people really cared. You couldn't go to a job interview unless you were clean shaven. If you had a tattoo, you had to make sure that you had them covered up if you were going to a job interview. God forbid you should have a nose ring or a guy has an earring. Those days, that part of it, thank God, is gone. Like, now you go to a job interview, you could have a beard, you could have a nose ring, you could look how many, you walk into a business, like a Fortune 500 business, and the receptionist has like a lip ring and an eye ring and tattoos on her arm.
Yeah.
It's like, we're so okay with it now. Our grandparents must have.
My grandparents
must have been terrible.
They would look at anybody like that and they would say, "Oh, they're not going anywhere." And then, next thing you know, they're like a CEO of some multi-million-dollar business. It's like, well, yeah, maybe they went. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. You never know. But yeah, I think just it's the cliche. Don't judge a book by its cover. It's got to be the dumbest thing that anyone's ever come up with, because most people, whenever they go buy a book in a bookstore, they're looking at the cover. So, but the whole meaning behind it, I understand what they're trying to say. Like, sometimes our outer appearance just looks weird. I used to work as a bouncer, and I have a pretty stern look, I think, when it comes to a lot of the shit, and everyone. They'd be like, "Man,
you're a big guy.
Yeah, you look like an asshole." I'm like, "Nah, man." One day I was giving somebody some fucking financial advice out in the smoke pit, because they were like, "Yeah, I really, this I've got to invest into this 401k," and I was like, you probably should start looking into an IRA. If you can find a Roth IRA, it's going to be a better alternative.
Tax break,
or if you can start looking into like Edward Jones or some of these investment companies to like kind of manage your some of the
portfolios.
The portfolios for Wall Street, which hopefully there's another person I want to do an interview with that I've done before, but I've screwed it up really bad. But I want to get him back on. He's in Austin, and he does. It works very similar to Wall Street, but it's all insurance. So everything is backed with insurance. You have like living benefits with insurance, but he's an insurance broker. But there's like a million different things now that insurance has that I had no idea that. I mean, it almost makes it tempting to go buy if I had the extra money to go do it. I'm a broke bitch right now, so it is.
Believe me, I know.
I spent a lot of money on all this shit. So once this is all paid off with, I can finally start doing some good stuff or better stuff. I can travel outside of Texas, but right now, I mean, there's so many people in Texas that want to do these interviews that I'll be booked for a while.
Oh, good. And I really hope this goes. I mean, like, the investment that you made. I watched you set this thing up. It took almost an hour. It's like, I wish you the best of luck. I hope this thing goes like far.
I hope it does too, but
far and wide, and you keep here. Real quick, I also did a little bit of acting when I was in Florida. They needed a bunch of bikers, and the bikers that they had were drinking and messing up so these film guys came over to our club and they said, we're looking for bikers that will behave themselves on set, because the last one, they were drunk and they were blah, 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 blah. So we said that we're a club that doesn't do any drugs or alcohol, So they said, would you do this? And so we said, okay. So it got me started in doing it. So I was in a couple of BL Stryker episodes, and I was in a couple of Miami Vice episodes. And then even not as a biker, Miami Vice, they also had me play a pilot one time. They had me play a drug dealer one time. And then there was another movie that they did in Florida called Welcome to Spring Break. A really B movie. I mean, terrible B movie, a horror movie. And it was a horrible horror movie. But they asked us to come back and do that, so I had a part in that movie too. And I've done a couple of things. When I got here, I didn't think about doing it so much.
Yeah.
But I met a lady the other day who said to me, you got that look. We need that look. Can I get you some work? I did a couple of things like that, hopefully, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm hoping that you go far. Like, she had me do this part for this movie that they're gonna enter it into Sundance or Austin City or whatever the film festival thing is. They're gonna enter it into one of the festivals, and I'm thinking to myself, I hope it goes far. Because if that movie goes, like, I had a couple of decent lines in it. So, look, there's that guy. There's that Ben Rubenstein guy. Just what I was saying was, I hope what you're doing goes far. And it brings you all the fortune that, you're hoping it does. And I know how that feels, is what I was trying to say about, doing all that, meeting that girl and her saying, oh, you got to look, we should do something. And then she put me in that thing. If you ever see a movie called Goldthwait, coming out of Sundance or ACL, it's not even edited. And
that name sounds pretty familiar.
Well, there was a Bob Goldthwait who used to be a comedian.
That's it.
Yeah, but they spelled it a little differently. They put an E at the end, I think, or whatever. But
when was this?
Just last month.
Oh,
so it was
down in Florida or here?
Right here.
Oh, wow.
They wanted me to play a truck driver. So I had a couple of lines as a truck driver. It started off that all I was supposed to do is walk in, put a Red Bull down on the counter, and the guy was deep in thought because he just lost his girlfriend and his brother just died and his house just burned down and his dog. It was like a country western song, And I'm supposed to put a Red Bull down, and he's so deep in thought that he doesn't know what's going on. And I went, "Yo, come on!" That was. Like, they sent me 9 pages of script, and that was what my line was. But they changed it when I got there, which was really cool. At first, they said, here, we'll give you this cell phone, make believe it's, you're talking to your boss, and he wants you to go to Lubbock, and you don't want to go to Lubbock as you walk in. Okay. So I would walk in, and I'd say, Lubbock. I'm not going to Lubbock. My ex-wife is in Lubbock. And then they go, oh, that was great. Okay, let's do it again. And then I'd walk in and I'd say, Lubbock, your ex-wife is in Lubbock. My ex-wife is in Lubbock. We're not going to Lubbock. And the next time I do like different every single time. The sound guy said he was having a blast listening because every time I came up with something different.
Yeah.
So who knows if any of them are going to get used. But I'd like to find out I'd like the movie to really make it big and Sundance win and get sent all over, and then I'd be able to see which line they used.
So are you part of SAG?
No, I never got SAG. I never did it. I have always been on a non-union sets.
No, I thought they just like automatically put you in or something whenever.
I'm SAG eligible. I just never did.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say anything about unions. I don't want to. That's a rabbit hole.
Oh boy,
that's a deep rabbit hole. Yeah, that's
fun stuff. It was fun. It was
acting is fun. It's all about like putting yourself into somebody that you're normally not or somebody that you are, and you just come out as that person.
The funny part about it is, for so many years they kept having me as a biker. That's what I am.
This didn't happen overnight, okay? I don't know if you've realized or not. This doesn't just happen overnight.
So it was funny, but then doing those other things, and it was kind of fun. I like doing that stuff.
There's nothing wrong with being happy with it.
It's like, and I can go to my IMDb page now. It's like
you're
see all
fucking famous.
See all my acting credits.
Yeah, that's a hell of a story, man. You've been through some crazy shit.
Like I said, I was pretty colorful.
Yeah. I mean, to come from, Queens isn't. That's actually where my the people I was telling you about earlier that brought me in whenever I was younger. That's where their family's from, is Queens.
It's middle class. We were lower middle class, but we were middle class.
Yeah.
I'm the firstborn. My parents used to joke that they made their mistakes on me. When my parents died, they died about 80 days apart. My dad died, and 80 days later, my mom died. And we went to I went up to New York for the funeral. And when I was there, my sister came up and somebody said to her, were you your dad's favorite because you were the only girl? And my sister said, I got to tell you a story. I was my dad's favorite because I was a girl. And Bam was my dad's favorite because he was the firstborn. And Mark was my dad's favorite because they both worked at the news. And Neil was so my dad never had a favorite. But Neil said something that was real interesting. He said, we're so far apart that we had different parents.
Yeah.
It's like Bam was born first, and they really did treat him differently. I was beaten. Every time I acted up, I got a strap or a wire brush, or my mom used to use this Mr. Met souvenir baseball bat on me, and one time she used the wire hairbrush, and she used the wires, and then she had to call her sister and say, I think I made a mistake. He's got 100 little bloody balls on his leg. So they made their mistakes on me. So when they all went around talking about it, so my sister said, they're favorites, and my brother was saying, we all had different parents, because it was, they made the mistakes, and Mark he talked about it. I said, do you want to say anything? And I said, no, I don't want to say anything. I just want to remember him for the good things, because if I said things, I would say things like I just said, he beat me. You don't say that at the funeral of your dad's funeral, that sometimes he could be a fucking asshole. I miss him. I love him.
Yeah.
But so my upbringing was what it was, it was like,
yeah.
So, and that might have steered me towards some of these things, So yeah, I have a very colorful life.
In those situations, I just go by my mantra of shit happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Definitely fucking sucks. Man,
But I didn't know any better. I didn't know that it was wrong. I didn't really know it was wrong. I didn't know there was a different way.
Yeah.
That's what I was used to, you know.
I don't think most of us do until, I think most vets are, you know, somebody come from a broken home or had the shit beat out of them. But everybody has like a different story, how they had the hell beat out of them. One thing I do know is that most of us have these electric cords like this that they got their fucking ass beat with, that are in, at least the newer generations. I don't know what they had them whenever you were a kid, like if they had anything close to this, but those things fucking hurt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
wire. My mom hit me with a wire hanger.
Those are terrible.
My father one time came home, had a broken arm, and he was pissed off at me about something, and he pulled off. You could always tell, like how they figured, you know, dads, they grabbed the belt and they could pull it out in one pull, you know. And he went to smack me with the belt that I put on my arm. And he hit it so hard that he broke the cast.
With the buckle?
With the strap swinging it so hard, it just cracked it a little bit. And he got so pissed at me for blocking the blow that then he hit me and tossed me over my bed. So, like, I know what getting beaten as a kid is.
Yeah.
But that wasn't always what they did. We had fun. My father was funny, you know.
Yeah.
We grew up everyone laughed, you know. And they made them, like my brother said, they made their mistakes on him because he was the firstborn. They didn't know better. They didn't know better. I didn't know better.
But, you know, that kind of comes back around to what you were saying with your what is it, BS? Is that what they give for the undergrad as a BS?
So, for social work?
Yeah.
It was a BSW, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, something like that, you whenever if somebody does come talk to you, you can say, well, this is what I was taught in school, but this is what I can speak on from my personal experience. And I think it goes a long way.
And I think that the paper that I wrote when I became a rabbi about why I would make a great rabbi is because of everything. My colorful background.
Yeah.
Because of getting beaten, because of stealing, because of getting arrested, because of spending time in jail, because of going to Yeshiva University seminars, because of going through Hebrew school and after school and Hebrew high school and Bronx High School of Science. And, you know, there was so much good and so much bad, you know, and I was the good, the bad, and the ugly. That was me.
I think every stereotype of any kind of Jewish person that they've ever put on TV.
I just blew it.
Yeah.
I just blew it.
Wait. Well, you gotta tell them. So there's we have a dragon head back here. And then there's a bunch of caimans, caiman crocodiles. You gotta tell us about this whole shit. He was telling me about this while I was setting everything up. So
I used to rescue caiman. I don't
rescue them.
Rescue them.
Like people rescue dogs, but
yeah, like people rescue dogs, but it doesn't have fur. All right, so here's what happened. Somebody gave me a caiman once. I liked it. I had a great time. When I got a little bit older, I wanted another one. So I went around, I looked. I found somebody who wanted to get rid of theirs because they were going away to college and they didn't know what to do with it. So I got it. Then I get a phone call from somebody who says, listen, I heard that you got a caiman, that you're able to take care of them. My mother doesn't want me to have it anymore. She needs me to get rid of it. Will you get it will you take it? So I went and got it. Then you get a phone call from a guy who says, you know, it was cute when it was 6 inches, but now it's 3 feet and we're afraid of it. Can you come and get it? And 1 turned to 2, and 2 turned to 4, and 4 turned to 12. And then I was rescuing caiman all over the country from people who would call up and say, hey, are you the caiman guy? Yeah, I'm the caiman guy. Can you, it's 4 feet long and I'm afraid of it and I had to tape its mouth closed and I haven't untaped it and it's been taped for 3 weeks now and I'm afraid to feed it. And I'd get all sorts of weird stories. And some of these pictures you might even see. I don't know if they're up there. I don't know if any of the bad ones are up there. But we got one where they kept the heat lamp right on the metal frame and they only had the the cage for the caiman like this big. So he had a big burn mark on his back. We had one like that. We had one where they taped his mouth and left it taped for a year. So when we took the tape off, like the skin was falling apart. It had mouth rot. Its teeth were coming off. Keith, that might be one of them that's up there right now. I don't know if I can get over to that side. Maybe you can. Can you see this? This first came in here?
This one right?
Yeah. See the way the front tooth is sticking so far forward?
This way?
Yeah, because the mouth rot was so bad that just the jaw was like bad. This one was sticking that way. This one was sticking that way. This one is coming that way. I mean, like they're all like in different areas. That it died eventually, but so I used to rescue. I used to go around the country and rescue caiman.
How does it survive a year without dying?
They can go a year without eating. If they had good enough food, had that. But we had to start it off slowly. The first couple of times, we had to brush its teeth with a salve to try to fix its mouth up and everything. Yeah. So it would like try to do, and then you would feed it by hand, like put it down, make sure you force it down its throat. But then one day we got this long toothbrush and I was brushing his teeth and all of a sudden he went, and we said, I think he's better now. So we were able to add him to the rest of them, and then he just died. He died of old age or something, I don't know, whatever.
That's crazy.
We had them, those are all the heads from some of them that didn't make it, Yeah. Some of them just didn't make it.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of them. You can see from the picture up there that that picture in the middle there of him, of the one eating the mouse, that was actually the last time I ever fed them by hand, because I had the mouse in my hand and I would dangle it and he reached up and grabbed the mouse. Might have been that one, might have been the next one, but he reached up and grabbed the mouse and took half the mouse with him and left the other half with a tail still hanging in my hands. And I thought to myself, yeah, I probably am getting too close to their mouths.
What's their bite force?
1,500, I think.
Yeah, but
no, 3,500. It's 3,500 pounds per square inch.
But they have no opening power at all.
Right. It's all enclosing.
Yeah.
They could slam it down at 3,500 pounds per pressure. Now, the caiman are considered the third most aggressive crocodilian species behind the Nile crocodile and the salty from Australia. Mm-hmm. The Nile and the salty get to be 18, 20 feet long. Caiman don't grow more than 6 feet. So to be 6 feet and to be the third most aggressive, they were nasty.
Oh,
they were nasty.
Are they indigenous to Florida?
No, South America.
Really?
But people used to bring them in because back in those days, people would bring them in because they were so cheap. There were so many of them. You could bring them in. You could sell them for $25 a piece. And people thought they were so cute. They're this big. Look at these. So, you can see the little ones over there. Oh, look. I think one of them, you can see where the fingers are holding the tail. Yeah. Look how cute he is. He's this big. He's so cute. Oh, look. He's holding my finger. Blah, blah, blah. This is so cute. It's like... Now he's 3 feet, and he just took half the, he just ripped the chicken in half. What do I do now? And I used to get the call. For that. So the Cayman Rescue.
Florida's a weird place.
Of them were fun, a lot of them.
Because they're the ones that brought the iguanas over, and now they're an invasive species.
Same thing with pythons.
Yeah.
People are letting pythons loose, and now they're killing all the alligators.
It's
terrible.
Which is,
look, you got an animal and you don't want it anymore, find a rescue.
Yeah.
There's a rescue for every type of animal. I did crocodilians. I know a guy who does rattlesnakes.
There was a guy in Oklahoma that did tigers.
There is a rescue for, you got an animal, you don't want it, don't kill it. Don't let it loose somewhere that it's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
Don't starve it to death. find a rescue. The rescue will take it, and they won't care that it's underfed or over whatever. You know, we will take them. We will take them. And there's a rescue for everything: snakes, crocodiles, tigers. This is a rescue.
Wasn't there? I think I saw a picture of like this really fat alligator or crocodile. It had to be I don't know. It might have been an alligator. I don't know, but they were like giving it chickens, kind of like as a sacrifice to say thank you. But this alligator was obese.
Oh,
but it was the only time I've ever seen an overweight alligator.
I don't know. It's possible. When you came up my driveway, you saw the 3 alligators in there.
Yeah.
So people, I don't know if you can see the table over there, but that's all filled with alligator stuff also.
Yeah.
Like when I was doing it, all of my friends, they would, anytime they saw anything that was alligator related, they would send it to me, videos. And so it's possible that I've seen it and don't remember, but everyone used to send me crocodiles and videos of jaguars eating caiman and snakes eating alligators and alligators eating and crocodiles eating lions. Whatever it
is nature.
CDs too.
Yeah.
I got this one. I was riding a motorcycle down the highway one day. I happened to pass a black truck that was just waxed and polished. And I went, wow, that tattoo looks really pretty good. I'm going to have to get one for the other side. And that's why I got 2 of these.
They look pretty damn good.
And yeah, a lot of Jews don't have tattoos.
Yeah.
And
I've noticed that.
And very few rabbis have them. I'm not your typical rabbi.
Sometimes that's what you need.
And that's why I think that I do a good job, no matter who hired me. Somebody out there. If there's somebody out there who needs a rabbi, I need a pulpit.
You think you're pretty satisfied with your life up to this point?
Wow.
Now that we've talked about everything that you've said and you've been through, I mean, you've done a lot of good. You've done a lot of bad, but you've done a lot of good.
Have I done enough good to make up for the bad? I wonder that sometimes.
But you're a rabbi. You should know who's going to judge you.
Yeah, when I get to the door, and
it's what's in your heart, and at this point, your heart.
When I get to the door, is he going to put all the shit on a scale and go, well, you did this, but you did this. Okay, come on in. Or is he going to say, you haven't even begun to take care of what you did? I don't know. I hope I've done good.
I think you just feel more guilty about what you've done. But I think your good's probably impacted more people subsequently than you could probably ever imagine.
I'm hoping that's true. I really hope that's true.
I think, yeah, man. I mean, look at, even with the hikes, we would have never met each other. We would have never had this conversation. But I mean, now especially, this, I don't know how many people this will go out to. Hopefully thousands, but you never know.
Be nice.
But I mean, you haven't let life just beat the shit out of you, and you've really got to. You're living it.
Every time I get knocked down, I get right back up again.
It hurts.
Yeah.
Life hurts, but you've had.
And have I been here at 3:00 in the morning, sitting on the couch, thinking to myself, what's the use? Yeah. Sometimes.
But we all do that.
It's real interesting, though. Is after that one time that I tried to kill myself before I got clean, and that one time after when I first had the PTSD when it first hit me, since those times I've thought about suicide hurting, so that's why I don't want to do it. I've become a fucking chicken. It's like putting a gun in my mouth. I bet that's gonna hurt. Or putting a rope around my neck. I don't want my daughter to come over here and find me with shit in my pants, and I bet you it's gonna hurt. So I'm a pretty big chicken these days. I'm
It's
thinking
mostly
like,
the shit in the pants, though. That's
yeah,
what gets
mostly
you.
the shit in the pants. Well, much worse shit in the pants in front of my daughter than anything else.
I'm just going to drink a cup of coffee before.
Yeah.
It's that dark humor.
I don't want anybody. Yeah, I don't want them to hear the sounds my stomach makes. I don't know, but
Yeah.
So I don't think about killing myself anymore. I don't think about suicide anymore. So yeah, I guess my life is pretty good. I think I'm doing the right thing. I used to volunteer at a different veterans organization. I used to go up there 2-3 times a week, show people around, introduce them to other people, try to cook them up with whatever it is they need. If they needed a banker, the place had a banker. They could talk to a financial guy. The place had a shrink. If you needed to see, I'd get your name on the list so you could go see a shrink. So I did a lot of stuff for veterans. I'm a life member of the Jewish War Veterans of the United States. I used to do a bunch of stuff for them. 4 times a year, the JWV sends care packages to troops that are deployed. 4 times a year. So I used to be involved in finding names of guys who are in the military so that we could send a care package. Yeah. Because the government stopped doing the 2 soldier, or 2 Marine. You have to have a name now. They stopped doing where you could just send it to any Marine.
They would just put them in these big-ass cardboard boxes and then send them over.
Right, but now you have to have a name. So I used to go around trying to find names of people. Hey, you got a brother who's deployed? Give me his name. You got a sister? Give me her name. Your cousin's deployed? Give me their name. And let me. So I used to bring names. I used to make sure that we sent out. They would say, what do people want? What Jewish war veterans? We know what we know for war veterans. We know we know what the soldiers want. So underarm deodorant and socks.
And 2 Hustler magazines.
and dirty magazines. But they don't even the Jewish war veterans.
Yeah, they I don't think they're. Hey, we love you, but we don't love you that much. We're not gonna break our fucking faith and shit.
So
we're gonna send you a couple razors.
And then, and then doing this with the Reverend Warriors, going on the hikes and making myself available and wanting to be available. I would love for IW to know that I was available, that you can come and I'll talk to you, whatever you need, whatever I can do. I can't give you money, but I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you. You want some counseling before you get married? You want me to officiate your wedding? Whatever you want. I want to be able to do that. I want to keep being able to give back. I can't run into burning buildings anymore. I'm certainly not running towards the gunfire anymore.
See, but that's where, going back to what I was asking you, you keep finding other ways to keep providing help for people. You haven't given up. That's the most admirable thing that anyone can ever do. Because once you give up, you've lost the war within, and we've already been in some other war that was some bullshit that, has caused whatever, or if you had to go do some, having to pull fucking people out of burning cars, or, I don't know, watching or getting the shit beat out of you when you were a kid. If you just give up, you let all of that win. And I'm so stubborn and petty when it comes to that shit that, if depression if depression's coming after me, it's gonna have to get its ass up and actually do something, because I ain't fucking. I've done my fair share of suicide attempts. I'm not. I think there are too many people out here to where the quality of life that we have could be so much better, and it's all about just having a open and honest conversation with somebody that. Sometimes it just takes talking to a stranger, because that stranger,
or talking to somebody that's not going to judge you.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what, in the sense of a stranger. If it's just like somebody you're sitting on next to a train with, or if you're like, yeah, man, is it cool if I fucking talk to you? I'm just hypothetically saying, you know, tell them whatever and then have it be. But I think more people would be willing to do that than to go talk to one of their friends or family that haven't been through the same shit as they have because they're afraid of judgment. They don't want people to look at them any worse than they already look at themselves. Yeah. Because we're our own worst critics. And it's so funny that they're willing to say, well, I'm not going to go get my VA disability or any of that shit because somebody's had it worse than me. But then they'll sit there and say, well, I'm just going to sit here and let this shit fester within me, but not think, well, maybe my shit might be worse than somebody else's. That thought never crosses their mind.
I try real hard not to push like that superiority shit.
No. I mean, like, if somebody else was to look at them and say, oh, their shit's worse than mine, well, you might be that person for somebody else.
Yeah.
So if you were to tell somebody that has had it worse than you, or whatever you deem,
but also we're the type of people that we don't like asking for help. Yeah. We're not the takers. We're the givers.
That's why we have to have a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, we have to find. Yeah, I think we definitely need to find people.
Symbiotic means that you work together.
Yeah. We need to find that. Yeah, we definitely need to find that because we're the I was talking to somebody the other day, and I guess I did go a little bit off on I said I used to be that guy. I was the guy that ran into the burning building. I was the guy that came out with the baby. I was the guy that saved I was the guy that ran towards the gunfire. I was the guy that put the bandages on, even though there was people being shot around me. I was the guy who ran, climbed up on top of that. I was the guy. I was that guy. That guy. That guy. You watch Bruce Willis do it on television, but I was that guy. But I'm not anymore. I can't do any of those things anymore. I can't run, so I'm definitely not running into any burning buildings. I can't stand up very long, so I'm definitely not going to be carrying any babies out. I can't. So now all of a sudden, like the back room that you went through, the pantry. Mm-hmm. I built that when we first moved in. I built that. My wife wanted a pantry. I built her a pantry. I never finished it. I didn't paint it or anything, but I put up the 4 walls. I put up the ceiling. I put everything together. I hooked up the electric. I built put a door in there, and and I put shelves on the wall so she could put anything. Then next to that, there's another little room that I built on to make a little media room. Since she moved out and took the television, it's just been sitting there with seats and nothing. And on the other side of that is a storage room. That's where I got the stuff that I've been taking out of the garage and trying to put in there so I could put my vehicle into the garage. I've been wanting to do that. But then I got to the point where I did that stuff, but there's more I want to do. Was that my doorbell? Mm-hmm. There was more I want to do, but I can't do. I can't do stuff. I can't do it because I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. So how do I say to you, I need help? We don't know how to do that. And that, I think, is the biggest problem.
How do you suggest it?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
What a conundrum.
It's funny because I did go online the other day and I did say something about the fact that I was, every time I got in and out of my truck in the rain, I got mud all over everything. Yeah. And Josh Comfort called up and said, hey, do you want me to come over and fix this? That's great. Yeah, I'd love it. Can you do that? Would you do that? Can you do that? Yeah. I got nothing to do tomorrow. I'll come on over. So we need to learn how to say help. We need to learn how to say help. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I don't know how to either.
And I feel bad about it a lot of times too, because somebody says, listen, I can do this for you. It's like, I can't, I can't give you anything in return. So that's why I think sometimes, like, did I do enough? Like, I helped all those people then, or I did all of this then, or I helped these people then. But what have you done for me lately? What have I done for you lately is what I'm thinking.
But it doesn't always matter what you do for somebody else. I mean, sometimes we've done enough. I mean, that's kind of where the whole theory of karma comes in.
Well, I hope that I've paid it forward enough.
Yeah.
I hope that
But
at 62 years old, now I can start enjoying somebody else helping me.
But also, let's say like you needed your deck rebuilt or something, and you have like 10 people come over. That's an event that those people get to share and get to know each other more. That's not at a hike or that's not somewhere else. They're doing something and they did it because of a shared experience. Well, now they're going to have something else to talk about. That could be the beginning of another friendship. I mean, that's how these things are supposed to work, you know?
I hope it does, and I hope that I'm a part of that. I hope that I went to the dentist the other day, and he kept me waiting all fucking day long. I was so fucking pissed. The VA dentist up there. And when I left, finally, like, I got there at like 8 o'clock in the morning. At 2:30 in the afternoon, finally he comes. He says, "Okay, come on, let me take a look." Okay, so you need to come back tomorrow morning. I've been here all day, and now I need to come back. How come you couldn't tell me that at 8:30 this morning, so I could have caught the bus back to the, whatever. How come I have to? So I told them. So I wrote a letter to the director. I said, "Listen, I'm 62 years old. I already did my service. I spent my time. I got hurt. I probably don't have a lot of years left. I'm 62 years old. I probably don't have a lot of years in front of me." He's young. He's smart ass. He's got his whole life in front of him, and he thinks his time is more important than anybody else's. It's not. My time should be more important. My time is more important. I have less of it left. He's got plenty of time to do whatever the hell he wants to do. I don't. I don't have that time anymore. I got, a couple of years left. I don't know what, but I think my time is more important. And maybe that's what it is that maybe I just need to, I don't know.
I see what you're saying.
Is my time important enough? Did I do enough? Did I pay it forward enough that now I can spend what little time I have left letting the next person pay it forward using me as I don't know.
I mean, I see what you're saying. It's not... I wouldn't even look at it as paying it forward. You're just doing the right thing.
Trying to.
And I think you've been going on about it the right way for a while.
I hope so. I hope so.
And I mean, that's the whole thing about having faith, right? Is you just have to have faith in the process of
I
what you're
hope
doing.
that I've done enough that when I die, a couple of people will show up at the funeral.
I'm pretty sure you would have quite a few people at this point that show up to your funeral. Whether we're drinking there or not, I mean, it's two different stories, but you never know.
It'd be nice to have it'd be nice to have people say, "Yeah, I remember him."
We'll have this.
What do you remember about me, though?
We'll have this.
Yeah.
As long as the internet survives, I mean, it'll always be on my hard drive, so if anyone ever needs it. But, well, I mean, I guess it's time to start wrapping this bad boy up.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, I mean...
I talked my ass off. I talked so much. I finished a bottle of water.
It was a good conversation. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for having me at your house.
Well, thanks for having me on your show, man. This is good. I like.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be a good one, man. I hope this. Wow.
I hope it takes off. I hope the world gets to.
Look, man, we're not trying to be like famous or anything. That's not the goal. But I mean, it does. For this to grow as big as it needs to, like that's just a consequence of what's gonna happen. Just like if any money rolls into it, but we're not like the part that we're looking at, it's not about monetary. Like my whole mission in life now is just to help as many veterans as I can. So I'm not looking to be, just wealthy. I want to have like a decent house and I want to have like a decent car,
Right.
but I like
want to be able to pay my bills.
yeah, I'm not looking to go buy a 2 fucking yachts tomorrow. I just want to be able to have enough to where, like, we're able to provide new things for veterans, and we're able to do things to go help veterans, and we can get together, or we can, bring special guests like celebrities out to some of these hikes, or because sometimes that's what it brings vets out, but it's because it's another experience you get to have. Like, that's really what life's all about. It's the experiences. That's what you're going to remember at the end of the day.
I'll remember this.
I will remember this as well, because whenever I get home,
it.
I'm gonna have to edit it for like at least 2 hours.
I
so.
gave you a lot of crap to have to edit through too. Didn't
I love it though. It's gonna be awesome.
Well, thank you very much, man. I really appreciate it.
You want to give like a shout out to any kind of nonprofits or anybody you might know? Maybe the was it the Jewish War Veterans or IW?
I'm a member of Jewish War Veterans.
DFW.
I'm a member of the DAV. The DAV does a good job. Does good work. They got me from 60% to 90%. So, yay, DAV. And definitely Irreverent Warriors. I mean, oh man. The people that you meet never have met you if it wasn't,
Yeah, I would have never met you if it wasn't for, I think,
Irreverent Warriors.
I don't remember if it was the IW hike last year that we met or not. But it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we picked you up in that one stupid fucking area underneath the bridge.
There was no construction. I couldn't get my wheelchair.
I don't know what they were thinking whenever they did that one little area, but yeah. But I mean, that was like that. Honestly, that was one of the reasons why I fell in love with IW. Right then and there, when I watched like 6 or 8 of us just come up there
and pick up the wheelchair
before you could even say anything. They picked you up and they moved you around, and I was like that's the brotherhood that I love. That's the brotherhood that I've missed.
Yeah.
And it's just a hodgepodge of veterans. There's not. I mean, it's like 60% Marine Corps, but the rest of it is just everybody else, and they just love other vets.
Air Force.
Who?
I'm Air Force.
Is that? I don't know. What do you guys say?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think we had anything to say. Yes, sir. I think.
Yeah. Yes, Kevin. Can I help you? But yeah, man, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Let me just say this one thing before we stop.
Yeah, say it.
Just one thing. I went in 77. Vietnam had just ended. When I went in 1977, we were still training the way they were training for Vietnam, because that's all they knew.
Yeah.
We still went through the obstacle course. We still had to go through rifle training and qualifications. We still had to do the running. We still had to do all this stuff. We had the heavy combat boots. We still did all of that same stuff.
The leather black ones that.
I don't know when it became the chair force. I was already out of it by then. I don't know when it became 4-star studded hotels and
the 90s.
I don't know, but I was out already.
Yeah.
When I was in, we didn't have. When I was in, we actually had to do some work.
Hey, I've met some pretty cool ass Air Force cats, man. They're not all the stereotypes make it out to be. I mean, even the guys we were in Iraq with, they were pretty cool.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
I'll let you go.
And Nick, he was Air Force, and that guy was pretty badass. So was I think Paris was too.
Yeah,
Paris Bilford.
Yeah,
I think it's his last name, Bilford.
Yeah.
Man, he was telling me some funny ass shit about steer school once. It was fucking. I'll share it with you whenever we get out of this. But yeah,
okay.
It was funny. He's a funny ass dude, man. I love that guy. I really.
But the Air Force, we actually did stuff when I was in service, so.
Yeah. My grandfather was in the Air Force. He was part of the program that eventually became the CIA.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
He was fucking stupid smart, but I really didn't get to talk to him that much, so I really don't know. But yeah, I mean, he used to carry these little books around that it was like Italian, French, and some other language, but he was always flying around places, and
so he had to talk to people.
Yeah, just in case.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was mathematically just a genius.
Cool.
He was my step grandfather, so that didn't pass down.
That gene didn't come over to your side.
I wish it did, but yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks
It's
a
been,
lot.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. We're gonna go ahead and end this thing, but so if you guys get a chance, if you want to help support us, all you have to do is just go like, subscribe, share, get the word out about us. I mean, we're just here talking. It's free. You don't have to do anything else besides click a couple of buttons. And hopefully this message gets spread out to somebody that you know, that you love, that you care about, and you'll see more of these coming out pretty soon. Let me take a quick moment to say this. Also, we're not supported by Hotel Tango Distilleries, but if you get a chance, you should really go try out their bourbon, and maybe eventually they'll come sponsor us. But if you want to talk about a really good bourbon, Hotel Tango, very smooth, aged 2 years. I want to say it's like 60%, but it's a really, really good product. They have a whole line. They have their reserve bourbon. They have their gin. They have their vodka, their Pride vodka, limoncello, orangecello. They have 9 different products. So anything that you want, I mean, they probably have. So if you get a chance to go check them out, go check them out. We have a website called thevetstruggle.com if you want to go check us out there. And we have all social medias, The Vet Struggle. So if you get a chance to go check us out on any of those, just go share, like, subscribe.